of September 9th, 2019, Atwater City Council to order. Report out of the closed session.
Mayor, the council considered one item under closed session at tonight's meeting. No reportable action was taken. Staff was given direction.
Okay, Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation by Pastor John Motz. Pledge of Allegiance by Adam Reed, please.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And let us all pray. God, we give thanks for this evening as the changing of seasons and the reminder of your goodness that continues on. I pray over the leaders of our community, those who are working on staff, those who are working as elected officials. God, each and every one for the extra burden they carry gladly, and sometimes simply the extra burden. God, I pray for extra strength to meet those needs, that you would guide each and every step. We thank you for the privilege and the mantle of leadership, and I pray for your wisdom to guide each step. Lord, over our community, I would pray that you would just simply continue to make us aware of the needs of one another. Continue to keep our eyes open to those who often would become invisible to us. Help our community become more one of compassion as well as justice and care. Continue to guide our steps. And this council this evening, guide our steps with wisdom as we seek to develop a greater sense of unity in the midst of this community. So Lord, we ask your continued guidance as well as strength, and just keep our hearts open and aware of your leading. In Jesus' name, amen.
Roll call.
Ambrose,
Here.
Kale,
Here.
Raymond,
Here.
Vieira. Here. Creighton.
Here.
We have a quorum.
You already did report out of closed session. Any subsequent need items?
Mayor, we have none.
Are we going to? Okay. Approval of agenda is posted.
So at this time, Mayor and council members, I would respectfully request that we move item number 11 after the consent calendar to allow Engineer Michael Hayes to report. And
Okay. Motion.
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion by Raymond, second by Ambrose.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Vieira,
yes,
Creighton.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Consent calendar.
Background information.
Hold on 1 second, please. Raymond,
Oh, no, she can go ahead and read that first.
your item was correctly moved as what your question was?
No.
Okay. Vieira?
No, let her do hers, then I'm in line.
Okay. I apologize. Go ahead.
Okay. Background information has been provided on all matters listed under the consent calendar, and these items are considered to be routine. All items under the consent calendar are normally approved by one motion. If discussion is requested on any item, that item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate action.
At this time, I'll open up public comment for the consent calendar. Any members of the public that come forward? Do we have any speaker cards or
I don't have any for the consent calendar as
Okay.
of yet.
for the consent calendar only? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment for the consent calendar, bring it back to the dais. Council, what's your pleasure?
do you want to pull?
They're pulling the consent items.
Yes.
There's some
Are you pulling anything, Brian? Is that what
Okay.
you wanted?
Raymond, go ahead.
I'd like to pull item number 3 and item number 6 for more information.
Okay, 3 and 6, any others?
Number 7.
And 7. 3, 6, and 7? Okay. Looking for direction on the rest of the consent calendar?
Motion to approve the remainder of the consent calendar.
Second.
Motion by Raymond, second by Kale. Item 3, 6, and 7 pulled for separate discussion.
We got to call for the question for the rest of the consent.
Yep.
Viera,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Creighton.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item number 3, consent calendar, adopting City of Atwater long-term financial plan. City Manager Waterman.
So Mayor and council members, this resolution adopts the city's long-term financial plan. This is the last item that the state auditor is looking for as documents from the city. Back in April of 2018, we met before the Joint Legislative Audit Committee, and at that time requested that they pull our item and put us on a monitoring scale rather than label us as a high-risk city. During that time, I've also met with the state auditor's office, worked closely with them in providing them the documents that they needed to keep us off of that high-risk status. This item, the plan identifies the policies and procedures that the state auditor felt that the city was lacking, and this identifies these policies. It adopts them through resolutions. The city council has already adopted them and put them into place. And this item, once the plan has been adopted by the council, will be forwarded to the state auditor for their review and acceptance. And going forward, any updates would be done periodically.
So at this point, this would put us in 100% compliance with the state auditor's office?
It should. We've replied to everything they've asked us. This is the final piece in the documents that they're requesting from us. Once they review this document, there may be some further items that they're looking at, but up to date, they were the last ones to pull our item from the JLAC's agenda, and that was on them. They've comfortable with that the city is providing them with everything they've asked for.
Okay, nothing further.
Any other members of the council? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 6.
We need to adopt this,
Oh,
please.
okay, we need to adopt that one.
Motion to
Resolutions.
approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
Call for the question?
Raymond,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Viera,
Yes.
Creighton.
Yes.
Motion
Item
passes.
6, under consent calendar, agreements, awarding maintenance service agreement with Joe's Landscaping and Concrete, Inc. for landscape maintenance service, landscape maintenance districts, Public Works Director Haddix.
Staff recommends awarding the maintenance service agreement in the form approved by the interim city attorney with Joe's Landscaping and Concrete, Inc., of Newman, California. The amount is not to exceed $520,305.
Okay.
Thank you.
Need me to start over?
No, can you get all that, Janelle? Okay,
Yes.
I think we fixed the mic problem. Go ahead.
With $104,061 each year for landscaping maintenance services and landscape maintenance districts for the initial term of 2 years, with the option of up to 3 one-year renewals for a maximum term of 5 years, and authorizing the director, manager to execute the agreement on behalf of the city.
So, Director Haddix, is this finally what I've been waiting for? 5 years in the making.
Absolutely.
All right, that's what I want to know. A motion to approve.
I'll second.
Oh, wait, one more question. I know I asked you earlier, but just for the record, if the chosen company doesn't do the job up to par that you and the guys are looking for, do we have the capabilities to terminate that contract and go back out to bid?
Yes, sir.
Okay?
So before we move on that, I think that it's important everybody know what we're talking about. This landscape maintenance agreement is the landscape districts that we've been getting beat up on since we've been on the council up here will now be contracted out to a private firm to do the maintenance for us. will free our guys up to do other things. Very exciting. It's a big milestone here in town, and we should see results quite quickly. Go ahead, Viera.
So let's confirm so that I'm clear, and then the public is clear. This is not for the parks. This is just for the landscape district, which hopefully will free our staff up to make certain that now our parks are being properly manicured, and we're going to go back to the pride what we used to have, and when you drive down the street and everything looks nice and neat and clean.
Exactly. And what internal staff will be doing is using the same matrix for maintaining the parks as the contractor will for maintaining the assessment districts. So there shouldn't be any separation.
So if on Monday, the maintenance district is doing district run, then that's where the parks will be doing as well, kind of, so they'll follow each other? Okay, that's good. And how soon are they starting?
They would probably be ready to start as soon as we give them approval to start. So
Okay,
I would say in the next week, they should be in the landscape district.
fantastic, okay.
Okay, call for the question.
So we had a first from Raymond, a second from Viera.
Yes.
Ready to vote?
Kale?
Right.
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Viera?
Yes.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Creighton?
About time, yes.
Motion passes.
Item number 7, under agreements, consent calendar, awarding purchase agreement to Rosario Ford, Merced, for the purchase of 3 new 2019 Ford Fusion plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. Police Chief Haddix, or Police Chief Salvador and Public Works Director Haddix.
We got a mic. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. This action is completing action taken on the first day that I became the chief with completing a grant program with the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District. The recommendation is to award a purchase agreement in a form approved by the interim city attorney to Rosario Ford out of Merced in the not-to-exceed amount of $95,917.50 for the purchase of 3 new 2019 Ford Fusion plug-in hybrid electric vehicles that were bid on the 12th of August with your approval of the bid call 680-19. The bids went out. We received 3 qualifying bids. Rosario's was the cheapest of the 3. This grant program is a reimbursement grant program. 2 of the vehicles are in the police department's budget that you approved in July. The match for these grants will receive, out of the $95,000, we'll receive $60,000 of it back from the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District. That turnaround time's about 21 days from the time I submit the reimbursement paperwork to the time we get the check. We have friends on that board, so that process is been expedited for us in the past. We received the check within 7 days, but I won't push that button too many times unless I absolutely need to. But the 2 of the 3 vehicles are budgeted in the police department's budget. The 3rd vehicle is budgeted in the Public Works budget, and I'll let Director Haddock speak to that.
The vehicles is budget in the Public Works are going to be divided between water and wastewater. I think that as far as the funding pieces, that's the access to the revenue that we do have, is to pay for them out of those 2 accounts.
Okay.
Well, the reason that I pulled this, and I had questioned city manager earlier on this, was so that when the public sees our agenda and they see that we're spending, almost $100,000 on vehicles, they'll understand that we are spending the money in a wise manner, that we are receiving grants, paying for the majority of these vehicles. Newer vehicles are going to run off electricity, so it's going to save us gas, maintenance, and that they were items that were already budgeted for. Just instead of seeing something on a budget And, I had questions myself of what was the match? Was this the grant? Because we talk about different things, and we talked about the police vehicle, so I just wanted to make sure there was clarification for the public that it's very minor cost to the city, and it's money that has already been budgeted in our budget that was balanced. So just clarification.
And I wanted to let council know as well, this is a great opportunity for the city to leverage grant funds to stretch our dollars further. It's been a long time since we've been able to increase our fleet vehicles, and so this gives us an opportunity to do so without jeopardizing our fund balances.
And at the same time, freeing up the mechanics' duties, removing these older, high-mileage vehicles. So in turn, we're going to get a better product to the citizens for the use of vehicles, less downtime, more production, so it's a win-win-win.
And the city is authorized to apply for this grant every calendar year. We get $100,000 a year allocated to us as part of the region. So for us not to go after this money is kind of not a really good bargaining chip. So I plan to be back in front of you after the first of the year. We're going to apply for this again and continue to make fleet upgrades in police vehicles, especially because there's a new set of hybrid police vehicles that are getting ready to be released by Ford. We're getting our first one as part of the enterprise lease agreement that you allowed us to do at the last council meeting. Once those vehicles get on the CARB list, they'll be available for this grant.
Awesome. Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, and I do want to say that I know since day one, Chief, you've hit the ground running, finding money in hidden places that we haven't utilized in this city for a very long time. And I think just kind of right off the bat, the citizens, the officers, and Public Works and other employees throughout the city are really seeing a benefit to what you've done, and it's really shows a lot of good teamwork and great leadership skills. So again, we're proud to have you here, and so all your expertise and knowledge is truly paying off for the city.
I have one question for the city manager. Now that we're moving into the era of electric vehicles, I'd like staff to explore a charging station out front of City Hall accessible to public.
Already done.
already
There's a
funding
grant
available
program
for
just for that.
I want to see a charging station out here.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll be back in front of the council requesting permission to do the electric charging station grant, which we can get up to $25,000 per station as long as one of them is available to the public. That
I
grant.
think a perfect place would be that little parking lot outside the PD right there. It's underused, so
Yep. No,
Great.
it's coming.
I'm glad I had that idea. Okay. Yeah. Okay, council's direction?
I have a question.
Okay, go
Chief, any of these streetcars, are they going to be logoed?
Yes, the one's going to the code enforcement officer.
Okay.
That one will be logoed.
Can you restate the question? I didn't hear what you
I
said.
asked them if they were going to be logoed.
Okay,
I'm not sure if the Public Works vehicle is going to be logoed, but the code enforcement officers is going to be logoed with the new logo. I just approved everything but this logo for it. As soon as we take delivery on the last two, the white one that I've been driving around town in is going to the code enforcement officer. Radio's been ordered, it's on its way. Lighting equipment from Evo, I've already talked to them. I have a funding source for that that's already in the budget. And we'll get it striped and marked, and you'll see it out on our streets. And then the Air Board has asked for a press release. Apparently, we're one of the first cities to really push this program. And once we get all 5 vehicles, and one of them being marked, and if yours is marked too, we'll take a photo with our new hybrid fleet.
I think council's direction is, and has always been, unless it's a detective's car for detective work, we logo everything we have so the public knows that's a City of Atwater vehicle.
Yep.
So, we're clear on that.
Public Works is working on getting additional logos. I've already spoken with the Public Works Director.
Okay, great. Looking for direction, council?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Viera, second by Kale.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Viera,
Yes.
Creighton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, we moved item number 11 up. So we're going to now do item 11 in front of item 8, reports and presentations from staff. Approving amended Measure V Regional Project Funding Agreement between Merced County Association of Governments and the City of Atwater regarding Witten Way Reconstruction and Paving Project. General Services Manager Peretta and City Engineer Michael Hayes.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Yes, Mark Pareda, General Services Manager. This evening, we are looking for approval for basically acquiring the funding from MCAG for the Measure Fee funds, which, with the help of the mayor, we're able to garner $2.6 million, actually $2,660,000, as opposed to $1 million that we were originally trying to allocate. So that really brings up our this particular project. Instead of doing it in phase 1, then phase 2, we were able to complete this project basically from north of Broadway all the way to Bellevue. So it's going to be a very exciting something that you know, if you live here in the city of Atwater, we're all very well aware that Witten Way is, you know, far gone, and we want to get this improved as soon as possible. But our city engineer here will talk further about the project.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Pareda. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Mrs. Waterman and staff. It's great to be back before you with more good news. As Mark alluded to, you know, the Measure V Regional Projects Committee, chaired by our own Mr. McDaniel.
I think I
And,
have two.
yeah, and with a lot of participation from Vice Chair Mayor Creighton and several other members of the council that are here on the.
He did.
Yes, I did. Once again, thank you. This amendment is the sequel to an agreement that came before this body last December, wherein following the adoption of the Measure V implementation plan, this council approved an agreement for regional funding of $1 million to do the first phase of the Witten Way reconstruction project. This 9 months later, we're here for you to consider accepting another $1.66 million on top of that. I think the biggest takeaway is that there has been some perception in the public that's been made aware to me that this project has been delayed because it was 9 months ago when we got $1 million. The way I see it, this project has been greatly accelerated because with a little bit of patience and in waiting for the additional funding that we received from the Regional Project Committee, which I should note, the implementation plan is on MCAG's governing board agenda for September 21st. So this is all speculative, but very hopeful. This project will be completed 9 years ahead of schedule.
So $2.66 million.
Correct.
Because we did a lot of work. We are teamwork with other municipal agencies in Merced County and everybody's getting along and things are getting done in Merced County, not only in Atwater, but Livingston and Los Banos and Merced. So I appreciate it. I want to thank all the other cities that supported our plan and allowed us to move to the front of the line. So thank you.
And I think what Michael just said too is a good point worth repeating. Even though this project has been delayed by a few months because it's been an ongoing project that the council has been pushing to get and move forward, but this delay of a few months allowed us to finish the whole project and in 9 years ahead of schedule. So even though we're a few months behind for the first phase, we're going to be able to complete the full project.
Positive progress.
Yes.
Yes.
I might add that by by eliminating the phasing of this project, it'll be constructed at a lower overall cost as well. So it's a win-win situation for everybody.
Stretching our dollars further.
Absolutely.
I'm going to open up to the public at this time. Any members of the public like to come forward and speak on this item? Supervisor McDaniel, you want to say something positive?
Don't invite him to a microphone.
Hey, that's my chair. I'm the vice chair. We're together on this. Atwater's-
Yeah, we are together on this.
Yeah.
This was good. This is not a hard fight, like you said. Everybody was involved in it, but we just stayed consistent message. We knew that this was a regional project that we wanted to put up and continue to move it. The city of Atwater, every time we had a discussion about this, they had used the city of Atwater as an example of how they continued to move forward and try to get ready for this project and how they kept their wheels turning the whole time. So it's a big congratulations to the city of Atwater for making it easier as the chairman to push it forward. But we got the 1 million, like we said at the beginning, and then came back with the 1.66 after that. It's great work and enjoy doing this because that's definitely a roadway that needs to be fixed, and we all know that.
It is, and it'll help the residents of Winton get back and forth to Highway 99 and other members of
Absolutely.
Merced County, so it's a win-win-win. So great job, everybody.
The only complaints that you'll get at this point, some of the roads in the county, is people will start speeding. So please, even though the road's nice, those potholes act as speed bumps. So, Chief, if you can pay attention to that.
Thank you.
No, this is good work. This is a good celebration, so thank you.
It is.
You know, Mr. Supervisor, I just want to say thank you again for helping get that additional $1 million last year. I know you were instrumental in that, so thank you.
Measure B, just remember that.
And I would like to also add my thank you in both the staff's job as well as yours, Supervisor McDaniel, because when I first went to that meeting, I was very frustrated. I was like, we're ready to go, and you said, hang on, we got something good for you.
We got some more.
And
That's right.
and you did, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks for holding me back.
Yeah. I don't know if I was holding you back.
I know, I'm just.
giving you the spring to spring
Yes.
forward. How's that?
Yes, how's that? That works.
Yeah. This is what makes, government fun, is when you're able to implement. I mean, we can take the credit for it, but it's because of all the folks paying the Measure B tax that's allowing us to do this. But I think when folks, they don't like to pay taxes, but whenever they see exactly what they get for the money they're paying for, then that's a nice return. And I think that's what's a perfect example. Like I said, Chief, watch out. People start speeding on the good road.
So, thank you Supervisor McDaniel. Mark, can you give the implementation dates and approximate when this is all going to kick off, so we have, so they know when their tax dollars are going to start showing up on the road?
Yes, we have a series of dates, Mayor. Starting from this month, if everything goes right tonight, we get a pass, and then we go in front of, this goes in front of the MCAG board here next week, I believe. And that gets passed, and then that kicks our funding into gear. At that point, on our timeline, then we start going out to bid. We'll take the bids. Has to take some allocated time for in order to that to happen. All bids on the end of November start coming in. Bids due by 12/3 into the city. Then staff will review the bids. We'll bring that back, whoever the winner is of the bidding process will be brought back to the council at the beginning of the new year. And then from there, it's just a matter of starting getting the final touches for the construction phase, which is early February.
Okay. Would you like to add anything to that?
No, Mr. Prada summarized it very well. We're, again, optimistic. We've got a February, not optimistic in the timeline, but optimistic in the weather, right? We're projecting to begin construction in February, and we want to get lots of rain here to help everybody out, but we're also hoping for dry weather to kick this thing off right on time.
Okay. All right, looking for direction, council?
I'll make a motion to approve the amended Measure 5 Regional Project Funding Agreement between Merced County Association of Governments and the City of Atwater regarding the Winton Way reconstruction projects.
Second.
Motion by Kale, second by Ambrose.
Viera,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Great job, staff. Thank you.
Creighton,
Yes.
motion passes.
Public hearings, item number 8. We're going to go back to number 8. We move number 11 forward. Ordinance approving Cannibal LLC development agreement regarding cannabis business pilot program for cannabis dispensary, non-storefront delivery only, on property located at 741 Enterprise Court, Atwater, California. General Services, Manager Peretta.
Yes, Mayor, members of the council. Tonight, we're looking to continue this particular item onto the September 23rd meeting. We're still getting the final touches to the negotiations in place.
Do I need to? I'm going to open up to the public at this time for public comment. Any members of the public? Seeing none, close public comment. Staff, we're going to reopen the public hearing and take any testimony given at this time on this item, number 8. Any public testimony on item number 8? Seeing none, we will look for direction. Continue to the public hearing to the regular city council meeting of September 23rd, 2019. No action needed, right?
Yes, motion.
Motion from
I'll
council.
make a motion to approve that.
Yes. Second.
You second? Yes.
Viera,
Made the
Creighton.
motion, Creighton second.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear. Viera,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Creighton,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay. You want to jump in on this one?
So during this time, I believe we had a question earlier on the amount of applications that we have, that staff's received, as well as a map of locations where they are. Janelle's going to pull them up overhead, and then we also have Greg Thompson, senior planner here, who's been point as well as General Services Manager Peretta for our cannabis applications.
Yeah.
Okay. So here in the map, it identifies the type of businesses that we've received that have our development agreements already in place. And it describes the type of business license that they've received.
Okay, any questions from council? City manager's providing a color map to update where we're currently at with the cannabis projects in the city of Atwater.
So the ones
Greg, can you come
identified
forward?
on the map have DAs, but not necessarily CUPs.
If you need it.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, staff, distinguished members of the audience. As you can see, the map is designed to be very comprehensive for your use. It's a tool. And the electronic copy that will be available online through the city very shortly, is my understanding, will be able to be scanned a little bit easier by the public. What it will, if you'll notice on there, on copies that you have or copies that you'll be able to pull up electronically, the map is designed to be progressive. There are little boxes under each one of the applicants and their address locations to show you exactly where they're at in the process, whether they have entered into the DA process, whether they have submitted their application, or whether they've gone all the way to the conditional use permit for that particular facility. Currently in the city of Atwater, there are 5 different applicants out of a total of 15 that have received their conditional use permits for operation. Not all of these are dispensaries, some of them, there
So,
are other manufacturing.
looking at that
locations.
map, Jose, can you clarify something for me on that map? Because it looks like, doesn't look like the map I have in my office.
So, Mayor, you're absolutely correct. So I think the map you have in your office just has the folks that we have DAs with and CUPs. The map you're seeing up on the screen also has the folks that have applications and have paid their deposit.
Correct.
But not necessarily a development agreement yet. So we would still be following up with those, or they would be following up with the city as far as whether they want to move forward or not. So as you can see, the one right in the middle of the map, which is the largest one, which has 4 different types of businesses, that one at the moment just has an application. There's no DA and no CUP.
Okay,
Correct.
so the future map will reflect that?
Yeah, and as I said, this map is designed to be progressive. As if you can see at the bottom of each one of the boxes, it's got little boxes that are checked off.
Pretty small print.
It is. I will.
I even have bifocals now, I can't read it.
Really? No. Well, obviously, the best way to read a lot of the maps that are presented is electronic format,
Okay.
so they can be isolated and searched. Like
But it's
most of the
very,
materials.
very informative, though.
So as the interim city attorney suggested, our process is progressive. The first level is the execution of an application with the master funding agreement and the deposit of the funds for application. And that's what this map is representative of.
Councilwoman Vieira?
So one reason that I wanted some real clarification is because I know if I'm confused, a lot of the general public is confused as well. And when we began this process, we had originally started with 3 or 4, and then we decided to open it up. And I just wanted to have the council to, everybody be very aware of where we're at with this. We have 5 conditional use permits. We have 15 applications. At some point, we need to kind of stop and say, whoa, I don't want 30 applications, and then we have the clients jumping through all the hoops and putting money out there, only to find out that we've decided that maybe 10 is where we want to be, or 8 is where we want to be. So I just wanted to make sure that we're all aware of where we're at, what's out there. Again, right now we have 5. I know we have a couple that are just really, really close to being open.
That's an extremely good point, and I didn't mean to interrupt you if you were.
No, you're fine. I just wanted to have a very open communication about that, because it's hard for me to, I need a map and I need a list.
Well, there's probably an extra layer that I would want to introduce potentially to the council members, which is which is a very, very important date, which is that date was July of 2018.
Okay.
And that was the date that the Bureau of Cannabis Control came out with a finding that most municipalities that are administrating the use permits that govern cannabis businesses are required to make sure that one of the considerations is not undue concentrations. So what staff has considered, and we're in the process of converting with legal counsel, is an additional finding of convenience and necessity, similar to what we do with alcohol licenses. So we would have to temper different things in consideration of a finding going forward. For example, you may find that there is a certain number of dispensaries, or the retail component, that is plenty that would service an area of 30,000, depending on their distribution model. On the other hand, you may find that based on contracts that they may have with service providers, that a manufacturing business should not have those same limitations. So there's a lot that's going to have to go into consideration, and an updated map showing the concentrations and overall numbers, very similar to what we do with census tract numbers on alcohol licenses, may be necessary.
Exactly. So that is something that you guys are very cognizant of, you're looking at, and you're going to keep us informed.
It will become a growing part of all of our staff reports.
Gotcha. Okay.
And Mayor, if I may make a comment to Councilmember Vieira's comment regarding concentration, or how many do we have out there. We have also had a conversation with staff as far as receiving additional applications. You'll probably get a report at a future council meeting regarding kind of where the whole process is, as far as you have this map, but more of a discussion as far as really pinpointing what are the dispensaries. You see a lot of jurisdictions really focusing on the ones that get the most attention are the dispensaries, the ones that people could just walk in and walk out with product. You have folks that have distribution, manufacturing, et cetera, that really are in an industrial area. Usually, you don't even know they're there. A lot of jurisdictions don't really have a number on those, because those are just, they're kind of in the corner, and they still have to meet security requirements, et cetera, but really the dispensaries. But I think that having more of a conversation of, okay, what do we have our applications, really going into what does it even mean to be a dispensary, what does it mean to be a manufacturer? I think having a little more of that dialogue would be helpful.
Thank you. Thank you. Item 9, ordinance making the environmental finding and approving zone change on property located north of Bell Lane and east of Truckee Drive from planned development to business park. Thompson.
Good evening again. Thank you for your consideration of this item. Before you tonight, what staff is requesting and has previously presented to the Planning Commission for their recommendation is a zone change for the property located at the intersection of Truckee and Bell. This is property that is currently owned by the city of Atwater and is under contract at this time. The request for the zone change is a mutual request between the city staff and the party under contract. So what we're doing here is we're removing the planned development zoning assignment or zone or district from the property, and we are converting it to a business park zone or district, which is consistent with the land use surrounding the property. This PD designation, if you will, was kind of a afterthought or the tail end of a previous development project that had changed and overlapped several times over the series of years. The bulk of it being reassigned to a residential development, which is the gated community right behind it. This zone is the zoning district, or the assignment that we're suggesting and recommending is a better fit for it and is consistent with the use, the intended use of the purchaser. And I'm available to answer any other questions.
I'll open it to members of the public at this time. Reopen the public hearing and take any testimony. Seeing no members of the public, I'll bring it back to the dais for direction. So we're going to need 2 motions on this. There's a separate motion for 1 and separate motion for 2. So we're listed motion to make and motion to waive. Those are both separate. So I'll take the first motion if council desires.
Motion to make the finding that the project is categorically exempt under provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act, Section 15305, Class 5, minor alterations and land use limitations.
Call for the question. Or second.
I'll second.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Viera,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Creighton.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Council, we need another motion.
Motion to waive the first reading, introduce ordinance number CS 1015, making the finding that the project is categorically exempt and approving zone change number 19-2, changing the zoning designation of property located north of Bell Lane and east of Truckee Drive, APN number 001-134-015, from planned development to business park.
Second.
Motion by Raymond, second by Ambrose.
Raymond,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Viera,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Creighton.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 10, ordinance making the environmental finding and approving text amendment to Title 17, zoning of the Atwater Municipal Code to allow supportive housing and transitional housing within residential zone and districts. Thompson.
Thank you again for your consideration of this item. What you have before you here is a zoning ordinance text amendment, different from what the item was before you, where we were asking for a change in the zoning of a particular property. This item before you tonight is to change your actual zoning text. The purpose and the intent of the request is to bring us into compliance with Senate Bill 2, which it was a housing bill. This is a required action by the state. The staff has spent a lot of time getting this prepared to bring us to a closure, hopefully, with the community, or Housing and Community Development Division of the state of California, that will bring us online for our housing element finally. So that is some extremely good news. And this matter and the ordinance has been presented to legal counsel for their blessing as well, and has received it. And again, what we're looking for is your consideration of this item. And any questions you may have.
Open up to the public at this time. Any members of the public like to come forward for this item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the dais for any questions.
Does this request two motions
There'll be
as
two
well?
motions. I do have a comment I want to make before we do that.
Okay.
You're talking about the housing elements?
This is a compliance piece with Senate Bill 2, which if you look at when we had our fifth housing element for the fifth cycle that was approved previously by the city council and submitted to the state, there were a number of items that they had found deficiencies in.
So what my question I'm going for is, when we started this project, when we got put in notice of violation by the governor, how many months ago was that? Do you guys remember when I had to go to the governor's office? About 5 months ago, I got called up there because we were in housing element we were working on number 3, cleaning up number 3, going to number 4.
Correct.
So
But we're actually due for our fifth.
we're due for our 5th, and we're going to be in compliance with our 5th.
With
here
all
pretty-
of it.
With pretty soon. The lifting and the amount of work we had to do as a community to become compliant was phenomenal. The governor sent his staff, Paul McDougal, down here.
Correct.
We had some pretty big mountains moved for us, and we moved some mountains ourselves to get into compliance. So it's really, really important that the public knows that this opens up opportunity to additional funding. The chief said tonight, if you don't ask for the money, you don't get the money. If you don't know where to look for the money, you'll never get the money. So by becoming housing compliant, that now offers us opportunities with grants and other things, and the governor's direction is affordable housing, and a lot of things are tied to that. So it's going to offer an opportunity for Atwater now to reach into that bucket of money and do some pretty creative things, so.
Absolutely right. And one of the things that staff is working with the Department of Housing and Community Development now is that there is a pool of money that was set aside under SB 2 for these kinds of compliance acts that allows us to use that funding directly towards the update of our general plan.
Which I was leading into.
Which is not a competitive grant.
How much is that funding into the general plan updating?
$160,000.
$160,000.
Which is not competitive. It's just
By
here's the money.
doing our job and getting this in compliance, we don't have to spend that out of the general fund. That's $160,000 coming into our, so
That's correct.
we're doing a lot of things right now.
Correct.
So I want to thank you on that. And we were ready for a motion?
She had a question on why we separated the motions, I think.
No, I just asked if we did need, I'm noticing
Yeah.
here, we need to make two motions.
Correct.
So I'll go ahead and make the first one if we're ready for it, a motion.
Motion to find?
The motion to find that the project is exempt under California Environmental Quality Act, Guideline Section 15061B, 3 common sense exemption.
I'll second.
Motion by Viera, second by Kale.
Kale?
Yes.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Viera?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Creighton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
A motion to waive, council?
I'll make a motion to waive the first reading and introduce ordinance number CS1014, making the finding that the project is categorically exempt and approving zoning ordinance text amendment number 19-1, amending Title 17 zoning chapter 17.6.06, definitions, and residential chapter 17.6, 17.17, 17.19, 17.21, 17.22, 17.24, 17.32 under permitted uses of the Atwater Municipal Code to allow supportive housing and transitional housing within the residential zones and districts.
Yay!
Thanks for giving me the second one, Cindy.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion by Kale, second by Ambrose.
Raymond?
Yes.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Kale?
Yes.
Viera?
Yes.
Creighton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
There's item number 12 I'm pretty excited about. Thompson, we would like some updated information about this, and make sure you drop something there. Make sure you put this in simplest terms possible about how people can come and do this.
Okay, the item number 12 that you refer to on your agenda regards just an informational update by staff on accessory dwelling units, or ADUs as the state has done. There's been a lot of movement.
What is it,
Accessory dwelling unit.
Right.
But a
Example to people.
mother-in-law house or your guest house kind of scenario.
A tiny home, 600, 800 square feet?
Well, actually, under the state's new guidelines, there's been a lot of movement since about 2016 on that stuff. So the city of Atwater has already had this, though. The city, within your own municipal code, you've already provided for what you refer to as a second unit home. And that has been a part of your municipal code for years. You've already been, providing for this particular type use. So you're a little ahead of the curve compared to other cities and counties that are currently under fire, Los Angeles being one of them for this.
And the reason we're giving a verbal update is because it was hidden in plain sight with the wrong verbiage, and we're going to use the correct verbiage now so people are more aware of that.
Yes, what staff would like to do is there are several other provisions within the new statutory requirements under this 2 or 3 Senate bills and 1 Assembly bill that have passed regarding accessory dwelling units. We would like your direction to work with legal counsel on doing another zoning ordinance text amendment to provide clarity in your code. Quite literally, it's not good for your citizens if they can't find it. And what we want to be is to be in compliance with state law and user-friendly to your public. There are some provisions that we'll want to look at and address with legal counsel, specifically the allowable use versus permitted use. And there's a fine line that we have to walk, both from the planning side and the engineering side, in that, yeah, we'd all like these conversions and we'd like these mother-in-law quarters, and it provides a lot of rental opportunities for the city of Atwater, which they desperately need, housing, which the state desperately needs. But there are some thresholds we have to be critically sensitive to, which is how much stormwater that they run off, or what their impacts are to services. So we have to be mindful of those things, and the only way we can do that is work within the box of the legal requirements, which we get very good direction from our legal
Inside that
counsel.
box, and as you guys spell this out, for the average person that doesn't know how to go through this process, that aren't developers or anything else, there's a lot of questions. Do I have to, does it require a new sewer line, a water line? Do you have to have different separate parking? Because there's a lot of things on TV about tiny units and additional units that's really confusing for people, because they're talking about containers, they're talking about tough shed type building structures.
I can answer that, actually. Any new uses on there and a residential, it's very easy. You can contact myself, or you can contact Greg, anyway, phone, email, or anything like that. We can help them through the process, answer any development questions that they may have, whether it's an owner builder or a contractor, general contractor. That's what we're, part of our service that we provide.
I like that, but if we don't answer the phone and it's a Saturday,
Well, there's another option. General Service Manager Mark Pareda just came up with an excellent idea that we're having available at the counter now, which is a quick handout on setbacks and fences and things like that that's readily available to the public. They can make photocopies. They're available to our realty offices. So Mark was instrumental in putting that together.
so you can get something to the Board of Realtors, Government Affairs person to share that.
We can do something, maybe a similar quick and easy handout to follow on the ADUs as well.
Okay.
And where do they look under the Atwater Muni Code if it's a Saturday?
Well, what we may want to consider is the handouts are going to be available at the counter, but under the Muni Code, under your zoning ordinances, under Title 17 is where that can be found.
So let's not get too tied up in the bureaucratic stuff. But this means for the average person, they could come in and ask questions that they could possibly put, if they had a large enough lot, a secondary unit in their backyard.
We're actually processing one now.
So we're in the process of doing our first one.
No, I wouldn't say it's our first one, but we are under application right now for one of these ADUs.
Raymond?
Thank you. Senior Planner Thompson, you and I have talked about this a few different times now, and the ADUs came about because of the lack of rentals.
And the housing shortage, yes, absolutely.
Yes, and I appreciate you getting to work on that and changing things around, because this can be a great second income generator for a lot of people, and be great, to get people some housing. So there was a whole lot more I was going to say, but in the back and forth, I just kind of got lost in the shuffle. But thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you too, Mark.
And this is an actual dwelling. doesn't refer to Cheryl She Shed, correct?
The,
The commercial on TV, the She Shed.
The She Shed?
I don't believe I've seen that.
It's like just a storage shed. It doesn't refer to those.
No, the new guidelines, which we will want to take a look at, and again, I would like to confer with our city legal counsel, is that the new state regulations addresses in-house conversions as well as external dwellings, so we'll have to address both.
Did that answer your question?
Kind of, yeah.
So if a guy
I'll look it up. I'll look it up.
I'll definitely look that up.
17. I'll go to Title 17, look it up.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Ambries? So, go ahead.
Just, Mayor, real quick, one of the comments that your senior planner mentioned was we are taking a look. The law did change regarding ADUs. A few years back, there were many bills that passed, one of them regarding ADUs that actually made it easier for an accessory dwelling unit, and that's a lot because of the housing. We'll take a look at your chapter, I think it's 1728 in your zoning code, to make sure that we just, if there are other changes we can make to make sure that it's clear. As far as I know, there's different requirements for parking, setbacks. It's supposed to be more ministerial, not subjective.
The main thing you guys
Correct.
could put in the text, and Raymond, I just want to make a quick question, that spell it out, like you're going to need additional parking, you're going to need additional stormwater stuff up front, so if the people are looking at it, they don't waste all their time coming in and realize they can't do it. Go ahead, Raymond.
What I was going to say is that Merced just went through this a lot, and I think you know a planning commissioner there?
Couple.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, no sense to reinventing the wheel. Look at that and see what applies here, and we can,
City of Los Banos has also recently gone through and has,
jurisdictions.
yeah, so what we're going to try to do is trying to come to a fit, and as you're wanting to make this a more user-friendly process, as Jose had mentioned, the state is leaning towards wanting to make this a more ministerial process, which would fall onto Mark to deal with it at the Community Development Department.
okay.
Great, thank you for the update, and hopefully people start coming to the counter and add some more units.
Cool.
Comments from the public?
At this time, any person may comment on any item which is not on the agenda. You may state your name and address for the record, however, it is not required. Action will not be taken on an item that is not on the agenda. If it requires action, it will be referred to staff and replaced on a future agenda. Please limit comments to a maximum of 3 minutes.
Do you have anybody?
I don't.
We have one like to come forward. No cards, all right?
No cards.
Good evening, council, Mr. Mayor, staff. I just want to, again, the positive progress here that just continues. I like the way it's going. I really like how staff has really, and Mark, and things have changed for the better. It really has. On another side note, a lot of times police and fire aren't getting acknowledged like they should, not only in this town, everywhere else. I want to let everybody know that today, there was a huge fire out there actually just further past Denny's. And I just want to applaud fire, and I want to applaud the police for getting out there, and they were Johnny on the spot and had that thing pretty much under control very fast. And I just want to let you guys know that I was driving right by it when it happened, and everything went really well.
I heard our chief was a fireman today.
I did too. But I just want to applaud you guys because, as usual, it doesn't really happen. So I just want to applaud the fire and police for getting things handled.
Did you state your name?
Oh, Brad Kessler, 288 Business Parkway.
Thank you.
John Cardenas next.
Oh, he said applaud, but nobody did, so let me do that. Well, good evening, Mayor, City Council, and City officials. My name is John Cardenas, and I'm the CEO of the Historical Downtown Atwater. I got to remember how to say that because sometimes I say Downtown Historical Atwater, but it's those 3 words. And you know what? I know it's 3 minutes. I'm going to go really fast because there's a lot of stuff I got to cover. Let me get that here. One of the first events we did was a rigatoni dinner. Thank you very much for those of you who did participate and that was in the kitchen with us, Mayor, and those who purchased tickets. Late coming, but there's 2 prizes, one for Mrs. Waterman and Mr. Kale. I think that one was for you.
Oh, thank you.
There you go. Didn't want you to think I kept your money. Okay, so what I'm here tonight to do is I want to let you know about an event that we're going to be doing. It's going to be the 19th of October. I'm going to pass some of these out if I could, just so that way you can see them and you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I'll take them. Yeah, I'll take them. Okay, thank you.
Makes it easier for me. Okay, so this is a copy of our the event application, and I just want you to look at the 4th page because there's a map on the back of that one, and that shows the street downtown Broadway that we'd like to ask to see if we could have some closure there. It's actually just 2 blocks of Broadway and a couple of side streets that go into Broadway too, so that'll be on the 4th page there. What this event's going to consist of, we are going to be branding it Atwater's Spirits Festival. Now, it's in October, so it's kind of a play in words, but the majority of these spirits, let's say, is because we wanted to kind of have a beer and wine tasting and have Corbin Cash come along with us, and we're in negotiations with them, and they'll probably be sponsoring some of the event, but that's where the Spirits plays comes into. So just want to let you know kind of what we're doing. I'm working on the application too for ABC, and so Chief, I'll be meeting with you sometime this week if it's possible. Just kind of give you a heads up on what's going on, so if there's any questions.
Real quick, what kind of stuff are you guys going to do with the Spirits Festival? Is it for adults only?
No, we're going to have a section for under 21. Actually, on the map, we're looking to just close maybe a small portion of the street where there's the vendors or the tastings is going to be, but the rest is going to be, we're looking at a bounce house coming in, face painters. We're going to be having just more family is the majority of it. A lot of it's going to be vendors, arts and crafts, handcrafted stuff, food. We're going to have food vendors out there too.
Okay, that sounds great.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for coming. Any other members of the public? Staff?
Just real quick, Mayor, members of the council, staff, meaning myself and our
Breda?
city engineer, yes, Mark Breda, General Services Manager, we're going to have an accessibility workshop and the public is going to be invited on September 25th at 10 o'clock here in Chambers. We're going to do a public outreach as for our ADA transition plan to get as many people out there as we possibly can to get some input. Where our transition plan is going to be, we're here next week, we'll have it online, and then we're going to be able to give hard copies at our general service department, or the people can email us individually, and we have some flyers out also.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public come forward at this time? See none, we'll close the public comment. Bring it to the council for council matters. Cale?
Well, first I want to thank the fire and police. They did an awesome job because, as the gentleman said earlier, I was right there too. And I think that's a fire. And sure enough, it was a fire. And those guys were right there and were nailed on and prevented anybody from getting there. So they did a good job. Fire and police did a great job. I'd like to remind everybody that there's a 9/11 ceremony Wednesday morning, 8 o'clock, right, Chief? 8:30, right outside City Hall. Police plan.
Community center.
Oh, the community center. I'm sorry, the community center. You're right. And police plan. It looks like it will be a moving ceremony. And lastly, I would like to congratulate an Atwater hero, another Atwater hero. His name is Frank Paredes. He is a 99-year-old World War II, a Pearl Harbor survivor, and a exceptional gentleman. His friends call him Red Feather. Luckily, I get to call him Red Feather. He is my friend, and he was presented yesterday with medals that got lost in a fire in Denver, Colorado in 1973, and he wasn't able to get records of his medals. And Congressman Costa got together and his staff, and they gave him these medals yesterday. The World War II Victory Medal, the Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal with 3 bronze stars, the Philippine Liberation Ribbon with a bronze service star and a Good Conduct Medal, and the Honorable Service Lapel Button for World War II. This man is an amazing man, and he's a go-getter. He has a walker, but half the time he throws it away, and is a great American hero, and I congratulate Frank Redfeather.
Ambrose?
I'd like to thank staff for all the information that they supplied, especially our timeline on the Winton Way project, as well as our landscaping. Can't wait to see the beautification of Atwater beginning. I also want to plug an event, September 28th, Movie in the Park. It's going to start at 6 o'clock with the community barbecue. You'll see most of us up there cooking and serving you guys. And then later in the evening, we'll go ahead and start watching Secret Life of Pets 2. So again, this is going to be on September 28th, 6 o'clock is when we're going to begin at Rossland Park.
Raymond?
So within the last couple of weeks, I've been getting calls about different issues around town, but no locations have been given. So it's hard to try to address these problems, specifically sidewalks, without knowing, where it's at. But we also have a new public works director, so you can contact me, you can contact him, or any one of us. But that's starting to be addressed all around town, and I look forward to seeing the completion of that, as well as the landscape districts, which I'm very excited about. I've always had a little mantra up here every time we keep repeating the crazy cycle, and that's if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. We're finally getting away from that, and I'm excited to see what's ahead.
Vera?
I just want to kind of go off what Brian said. I see a big change in the last year versus the first couple years that I was involved with the council, and I just feel like we've really gotten our stride. And it's kind of like learning to ride a bike. You fall, but now we're up. We're all moving in the same direction. We have such a good team with this council, and I just feel like we've really found our stride. And I'm hearing a lot of positive things from a lot of people, and it just feels good to sit up here and feel proud about being able to say, oh, we are making progress, and seeing the community members notice and regain their pride in the city that we're representing. So keep up the good work. Landscape districts, I'm super, super, super excited about that. Almost as excited as my splash pad. That we will be opening in
Spring of
2020. So next summer, in the hot heat, all the little kids can run around in the splash pad over at Veterans Park. I'm very excited about that. It's been a lot of time and effort from staff and from everybody. It's kind of our first time putting this together, but a lot of us up here have been pushing for it, and Mayor Creighton has been a great advocate. Lori's worked many hours on it, along with, I know, the other staff, and I think it's going to be huge for the younger kids in the community, so I'm super excited about that. That's it.
Okay, got some big numbers to throw at you guys. TCP litigation, city council held fast, and we were awarded $63 million to start the process of cleaning up the water system here. So we've taken a lot of comments over the last 2 years. Brian's probably taken more. He's been here longer. But I wish a few of the people from the public that come up every time to the podium, we delivered, we didn't sell out, we did what we had to do, and we brought it home for $63 million. So you'll see the next couple of years some things changing at the well sites. So great job, council. My hat's off to every one of you guys up here. You didn't take the easy way out. You dug in and you guys held firm, so it paid off. Also, Caltrans on Highway 99, from the north of Atwater at the first off-ramp to the south of Atwater to the last on and off-ramp, they're going to be investing $78 million of Caltrans money to improve Highway 99 through the Atwater corridor. That'll be lowering Highway 99 almost 2 feet below the Applegate overcrossing, improving every single on and off ramp, and adding storm basins to control some of the storm water and flooding. So that, along with the $63 million, you're looking at $140 million roughly that's coming into this community in the short term, along with the $2.7 million on Witten Way. We're delivering a lot of good things here, a lot of big numbers, and have patience with us. When all this stuff starts kicking in, you're going to be mad at us because now we're doing the improvements. So, but have patience with us. And I'll take those calls gladly. The movie in the park that Councilman Ambrose was talking about, the city council's going to do hot dogs and drinks. So there's no charge for that. It's the last movie in the park, and it's going to be at Ralston Park at 6 p.m. We're going to start with the barbecue and drinks and socializing. So we anticipate a couple hundred, maybe more, maybe a few less. But those that attended before, we had some pest problems with ants. Public Works Director Haddix has personally gone out there and relocated all the ants to a different habitat.
Small cages.
Yeah. So they're all been safely transferred. It's going to be fun. We have our religious community is heavily involved in there. Janelle's doing quite a bit of work. So it's a small town, hometown feel. So if you can't stay for the whole movie, just come out for the barbecue, show your face and say hello. It's a great event. It's a great social gathering, and it's the start of something that we're going to build off of. I think you heard the Historical Downtown Association. They're doing things. We have the Bloss House, and they're doing things over there. They're having events. So the Atwater community is coming together, and hopefully we all come together Wednesday for the September 11th ceremony, the 9/11 ceremony, which will be held at the Community Center on 760 Bellevue Avenue. So we'll have a static display out there. I'm gonna let the chief tap into that right now, and we'll close it with your comments.
Thank you, Mr.
We're trying to find a microphone. I don't think we need one with the chief, though.
No, not normally. On Wednesday, we've moved the 9/11 ceremony from where the city is normally at it at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Most 9/11 ceremonies occur time adjusted at the time that the towers were struck. This occurred at 8:46 in the morning Eastern Daylight Time, which put it at about 5:45 our time. Well, that's way too early for one of those. But we're time adjusted. That's why it's the 8:30 start. We're going to have some static displays, fire and police vehicles there. We have a joint services honor guard.
Chief, what does it start tonight?
What?
Static displays?
I don't have cars ready for them. We'll get them out tomorrow.
Can you elaborate on that topic?
Yeah, we're gonna have police and fire vehicles available.
Public Works?
Some public works vehicles also. I'm short on cars, that's why they're not out tonight.
Is there anything out there tonight?
No.
So there is a set of lights. If you go by the community center tonight, there'll be a set of 2 lights to represent the Twin Towers. So tonight you see a set of the old Hollywood spotlights pointing up. That's us paying tribute to the 9/11 victims and police and fire that were involved in that.
We want to thank donating those?
So I'll let City Manager Waterman
Sorry.
or the
That's
chief
fine.
explain. We have some participants other than just the city that's contributing their time and money.
Yeah, the lights came from,
United Rentals donated the lights.
the rest of the ceremony is a joint services honor guard, the Marine Corps, the Sheriff's Office, Atwater PD. It will be a very nice ceremony that is styled after the Pelco ceremony that they have in Clovis every year.
We'll also have Riggs Ambulance and Highway Patrol will also be there in attendance. Cal Fire.
We'll have the fire department there. I've got to make some final phone calls to confirm people tomorrow. Today was not, I couldn't get to today. But we're going to have a really nice ceremony. It's going to be about 90 minutes long. We're going to honor our fallen, a wreath-laying presentation. We're going to do the 13 Folds poem. If you've ever heard the 13 Folds poem, when you fold an American flag in a ceremonial manner, there are 13 folds. And there is a poem that goes with the 13 folds. And we're going to do that poem and do the 13 folds of the American flag, a wreath-laying ceremony, a rose ceremony for the families of the fallen. And we were out there for about an hour today trying to get that all squared away and practiced.
Okay, so we're looking forward to seeing everybody Wednesday morning
It's
at
gonna be very nice.
8:30, right?
Starts at 8:30.
And drive by there if you guys can tonight to see the lights. The lights will be up all week
Yes.
through Thursday. They return Friday to United Rentals. So please drive by and thank everybody. Meeting adjourned.